What we're talking about today is another weather alert day. If you're just now joining us or you're starting to wake up and enjoy the second half of your weekend, you are waking up to really warm temperatures. But similar to Saturday, we're underneath a heat advisory that goes into effect within the next few minutes. It starts at 11 a.m. and goes until 8 p.m. today, but Sunday will be even hotter than your Saturday. So let's talk a little bit more about that. We're going to take these graphics very big, full, so that you can see exactly what we're talking about. This is the scene right now. Is mostly sunny skies across the area, and temperatures right now, as you get into parts of Norfolk, are in those lower 90s. We haven't even reached 11 a.m. and we're already at 92 degrees. You can barely tell, but there are people out there at that cruise terminal staying underneath that shade because of how hot it is in that direct sunlight. So dew point temperature is still in those lower 70s, shows you that it's still humid outside as well. So current temperatures, let's take it basically around the horn. We are talking 89 now in West Point, 87 in Hampton, 86 in Chesapeake, 88 as you get into Suffolk, 86 in Eatonton, and 87 now in Currituck. But when you add on these really high dew point temperatures in those 60s and 70s, it feels more like the lower to upper 90s. Already feeling like 99 degrees now in Norfolk and Wallops Island, feeling more like 97 in Surrey, 90 in Ahoskie, 93 in Currituck, and 92 in Franklin. Feeling like 98 in Portsmouth, 99 in Eatonton, and 93 in Matthews and Hampton. So because we're already in that range of almost triple digit feels like temperatures for some areas, we're expected to see some feels like temperatures nearing 105. So that's why we have heat alerts in place. Specifically for today, we are talking a heat advisory. Now, for a heat advisory, this extends all the way from here in the Virginia side of things all the way to North Carolina. Remember, yesterday was when we only had basically the northern half of the viewing area in that. So this runs again from 11 a.m., which starts in about 4 or 5 minutes, to basically 8 p.m. tonight during the hottest parts of the day. But we're not the only ones who are seeing basically this big dome of high pressure building in some really hot weather. It extends all the way into parts of Pennsylvania as you get into the northeast. So definitely some hot stuff up the I-95 corridor. The thing about that, though, is that heat advisories and excessive heat warnings differ depending on where you live. So with a heat advisory specifically for Hampton Roads, you have the heat index, or that's just a fancy word for feels like temperature, has to be 105 degrees for at least 3 hours. So the Weather Service says, hey, during the hottest parts of the day, which usually is somewhere between about 1 and 5 p.m., we could see feels like temperatures around 105 degrees. For an excessive heat warning, which we're not expecting for today, that's the good news, is that the heat index or feels like temperatures have to be around 110 for at least 3 hours. Now, places, let's go back to that original map. You see how we have that heat advisory. You go all the way up. Places like parts of New York and even into parts of Massachusetts, some places have heat advisories for feels like temperatures of only 95 degrees. So again, it really depends on where you live. The further north you get, the cooler that criteria is, especially because a lot of places in the north part of the United States, they don't have AC. So good news is we do. Try to make sure you try to find some as you head throughout the day today. So right now, here's our look at satellite and radar. A few showers are starting to pop up just outside of the Outer Banks, but nothing really touching land at this point. We really do need rain badly, but right now, not seeing anything in the way of it. We will see some as we get into Monday. Now, here is where that rain will come from. There's this cold front that's now draped basically across the Great Lakes all the way through parts of basically the middle part of the country. This is already bringing rain to the Great Lakes, where they were underneath heat advisories yesterday. So that's good news. Now that they're not underneath heat advisories, this shows this cold front is really producing not only rain, but some cooler, drier air that's giving some brief relief to a lot of us. So we hope for that that cold front to roll through our area as we get into your Monday. So that's the good news. Let's take you through the Futurecast graph, and I'll show you a little bit more about like what I'm expecting basically between now and into your Monday. So for your Sunday, temperatures will rise basically to the middle to upper 90s. We may have a spotty shower, maybe a rumble of thunder, but rain will be very hard to come by during the afternoon and evening. Anybody who does get rain, you are one of the very lucky few who will get a little bit of relief, because when rain falls, it cools the air. So we'll see maybe a sprinkle or two right around 3 to 4, maybe even lingering into about 8 to 9 p.m. tonight. But thankfully, the good news is that relief is on the horizon, whether you see rain today or not. I will say, from the update this morning to the update now with the Futurecast, this specific model is called the graph model. It does bring a little bit more in the way of showers, so that's good. By tonight, temperatures dropping off into the upper 70s, lower 80s. I do want to bring back one more point. Let me go right back to where I was about 4 p.m. Notice how temperatures are saying they'll be in the middle 90s. I think that temperatures will actually be a touch or two warmer. I'm thinking maybe some upper 90s. I'm forecasting 97 for Norfolk today. That being said, our record high temperature here in Norfolk is 99 degrees. So we could be trying to near that record, maybe even potentially try to tie it. I don't think we'll make it into the triple digits for air temperatures. Not talking about feels like, I'm talking about regular, just air temperatures. I don't think we'll get into the triple digits, but I think that we will make it into the upper 90s. So again, few showers maybe rolling through late tonight, and then here comes a little bit of rain heading into your Monday. I will say again, this model has updated from the morning, so it's bringing more morning rain than I saw earlier this morning from the morning forecast runs. But starting off your Monday morning, also very warm. Remember, ahead of a cold front, you get really warm, moist air. Behind it, cooler, drier air. So because of that, temperatures will still be able to rise until the upper 80s, possibly some lower 90s before that front really gets that cooler air in. We could see a couple of showers and thunderstorms really heading into Monday night into parts of basically the overnight hours, and then cooling off as we get into Tuesday morning. That's the good news. Now, overnight tonight, we're going to start to see some temperatures that will basically only fall into the upper 70s. So it's still really hot, humid tonight. And I'll give you a look at what you can expect for feels like temperatures today, because I know there's a lot of events going on. And regardless, if you're going to any of the events, you might just want to go to the beach since it is a Sunday and it's sunny. But make sure that if you are heading out there, you are paying attention to your body and making sure that if you start to feel hot, go inside to some AC, try to find some shade, drink plenty of water. Heat index or heat indices, or again, that's just a fancy word for feels like temperatures, from noon to 6 p.m. at least should be in the triple digits. Notice how we're going to be in that 100 to 102, possibly 105 range for us between noon and 6 p.m. Then after that, once we start to get a little less sunlight, as the sun starts to lower the angle, we get a little less sunlight. So then we get into the 7, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. range, and we still feel like the 90s, but at least not as brutal as those triple digits. So again, if you're heading out to the beach today, here's your forecast for Virginia Beach. We are talking upper 80s, low 90s now, with lower 90s throughout the heart of the day. Again, UV index is very high, so please wear sunscreen. And if you get into the water, you reapply. Try not to fall asleep on the beach today. Please try not to, because you definitely will get sunburned. Across the area, if you're heading out to beat the heat on the water, if you're taking out your boat to the bay or the ocean, we do have small craft advisories in effect for today. The one for the bay is already in effect. The one for the ocean goes into effect later this afternoon. So we are talking some winds from the southwest up to about 20 knots at the bay, and winds from the south or southwest today at the ocean up to 25 knots. So just be aware of that. You may experience a little bit of a chop. Now, again, in your Monday, we're talking that risk for that thunderstorm, and that may pass through basically during the the afternoon and evening as we do get some of that rain to cool us off finally. But with that chance for thunderstorms does come the risk for a very isolated severe thunderstorm. So right now we are underneath a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather. And we are talking basically the extreme southern parts of Virginia Beach. I mean, extreme southern parts, basically clipping northeast North Carolina, including Elizabeth City, Eatonton, Nags Head. This is going to be for gusty winds up to about 60 miles an hour and some hail. So be careful if you're out and about on your Monday, whether you're at work, taking kids from summer camp, or you're going somewhere during the evening time. This is where that thunderstorm risk will be. But again, we are talking really hot stuff for today. That's why we have that heat advisory in place for us across Hampton Roads and northeast North Carolina today. It does include everybody for your Sunday because this is some of the hottest temperatures we've seen in a while. Again, air temperatures middle to upper 90s, feels like temperatures 100 plus. So a heat advisory is in place for us from now, because it started at 11 a.m., so now until 8 p.m. Again, always make sure to drink plenty of water, take frequent breaks, try to find some shade, try to get some AC. And if you have people or pets, make sure never, ever, please ever leave them in the car. It gets even hotter than that. I'll take you through your 7-day forecast because I will say a little bit of relief is on the way, and I think a lot of people are going to be enjoying that. So what we're talking about for your 7-day forecast is we are going to be hot today, pretty steamy tomorrow as we get into your Monday. That cold front approaches, brings a chance for some thunderstorms, and then we get into the upper 80s once again. The difference between Monday and Tuesday is that Monday will be hot and humid. Tuesday will still be pretty hot, but it won't be as humid. So the upper 80s will actually feel like the upper 80s. Mostly sunny skies as we get into your Tuesday and Wednesday. But Wednesday, we're right back up into those middle 90s before we have more chances for some thunderstorms Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So again, a heat advisory is in place for us for today from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Make sure, again, if you're out and about today, you protect your body, because remember, heat illnesses can start at temperatures as low as 80 degrees. For more information on this, you can head to 13newsnow.com and view our forecast page that has everything you need to know for the next 7 days. And meteorologist Hunter Forrest will be back here at 6 p.m. with your local news and weather. Thank you.